Hey, all you dude and dudettes out there, all the Kevin Maniacs, Big Kevin Mania is running wild here on YouTube. We are here for another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. Um, as you can see, I had a little bit of a TikTok video that got a little bit of a popular response about a douchebag on there that was talking about, well, you can't be a real man if you like comics or you like Obi-Wan Kenobi and just, you see it on there, okay? So you don't have to worry about it, but you the video's there. So we had another FWE Danger Zone that came out yesterday. It was episode 4, so that's coming along pretty swiftly. Got a couple of few future plans here in the making coming up, just to give you a little bit of heads up of what's going to be coming up. Football season's coming, so obviously we'll be having a little bit more sports talks here during the season. So that's something to look forward to when you're on when you're a sub member, when you're a Kevin Maniac on Big Kev's World. You have to run wild on here, because if you don't, everything gets taken away. And but let's get into it. So I was originally going to title this video "My Take on America Today as a 40-year-old Man," but then I started to think, well, as a 40-year-old man today, and social media has come along a long, long way. When we were all in school back then, if you were about my age or a little bit older or around my age, you would understand what I'm about to say. There's a certain thing that most people had back then, that in school you had a regular computer with a floppy disk. If any of y'all don't know who floppy disks are, then you need to go look yourself in the mirror. You arrogant fuck. Just kidding. Now, floppy disks were something that the computer used back then. But the floppy disks that, you had computer classes in school. And, social media wasn't really even a thought. And then the whole internet came about. It wasn't as popular in the mid 90s, but we had stuff like AOL and Juno and web, and I know web TV. I don't know if some of y'all remember web TV, but social media has definitely changed from that point to now. Um, growing up with the computer and just learning social media, it wasn't really that much of a thing. You had a little few websites here and there. You had a few websites here and there, but you really didn't have a lot of you know you had a couple of things. What's the word I'm looking for? You had a couple of social media accounts that started to come up. The first ever social media account that I joined was MySpace in 2005. At the time, now MySpace is totally different. Now it's like a music for up and coming musicians to post on there. MySpace was the very first ever social media thing I used. Now if you count web TV, back then when I had web TV, they had these little chats where you can chat with people in your local areas, whether you live, no matter where you lived in the United States. There was like well, since I lived in Nashville, there was a thing in Tennessee, so I would talk to people from Tennessee or Nashville, and it would. So I guess you could say that was my first social media encounter, but I still like to count the MySpace because it was in 2005. It's the first ever profile I ever had. Um, Very new to it, and I will say this much: the best thing that ever happened on social media for me was I met my wife on there. So I will say there's some perks to social media. Um, Let me see here. And Gigolo, my boy, Big Rim, what's up, big man? I feel like there's so much negativity on social media, and I feel like people have gotten lost, like they can't live without it. You are absolutely 110% correct there, Big Rim. And I was getting to that. The thing about social media now is there's so many accounts. There's Facebook, there's TikTok, there's Twitter, there is Snapchat, there is Instagram. There is so much social media thing, and it's almost like your life now is in the eye of strangers, not just your friends on your friends list, but strangers and people who can hack into your stuff. It's like your whole entire life is now being looked at in a bubble. You can't live your life in a bubble no more. Because once you're on social media, once you have everything on social media, your pictures, what you ate, no matter what the hell it is, it's there. And Remington said it's good for meeting new friends, but at the same time, some people just live their lives on it. Like it's like, what are you doing here before it existed? And Travis said social garbage media is a bunch of annoying shit. It calls cheating losers nowadays, especially TikTok. And Remington said, and if I lost internet for a few days, honestly, I wouldn't care. I feel like they should have a national internet shutdown day for a couple of days and people would lose their shit. Well, I'll tell you this much. People would lose their shit if they did a national shut internet off day. But then again, if you take people's coffee away too, don't do it on the same day. That is not a good thing. Don't mix that. Don't do it. Because if you take away people's coffee and then you take away their internet for the exact same day, oh my God. We're talking like Armageddon of like zombie fest, apocalypse kind of deal here. Yeah, I know. Everybody seems to be getting hacked on TikTok, but actually on Facebook, but actually, Rem, it's not really Dick. It's not Dick Doc. It's basically Titty Talk. That's what I like to call TikTok now, because there's a bunch of girls live on there. They're wearing these little skimpy outfits and they're showing their cleavage, and then they get. Now, here's the funny thing: those same girls are getting offended by men who make comments in their videos. I'm sitting there thinking, well, if you didn't want a man to make a comment on that video, then why are you dressed like that? And why are you seeking the attention that you're seeking? And what's up, Poston? I mean, that right there is a problem that I have with social media. When you got people who are trying to be famous because they're lazy. They're lazy in their personal life because they don't want to do a 9-to-5 job. They don't want to sit there, punch in, and clock out. What they want to do is say, hey, this person got discovered. I want to be discovered on social media too. So what these people are doing is that they go on. Now, it's one thing if you're using social media, if you're a musician and you're trying to get your band up and running, that's one thing. If you're a guy who's trying to get your comedy skits going, that's one thing. Or if you're a girl who's trying to get her comedy going, that's one thing. But when you are a person who's trying to get famous by making a bunch of titty talk videos and you're showing your cleavage and you're showing your junk out to a bunch of strangers on social media, you better be prepared for the ramifications of what you get. Now, some of these women, not all women, and I want you women, I don't want you sophisticated ladies to think that I'm talking about you, because I'm not. But what I'm talking about is the ones that sit there and like, hey, I make all this money by showing my ass to a bunch of Indian people. And these Indian people pay me money to show my ass. Well, that's good for you. Let's see here. Everybody that's getting hacked keeps sending me messages about Cash App, 3,000. People on social media think they're so high value in people when there aren't any real shit in real life. It's the same thing as a girl at the gym with booty shorts on. Her pussy lips are coming out, wondering why guys are looking at her ass. I mean, come on. Don't be stupid. Exactly the same thing I was saying. When you go to now, it's one thing to if you're a woman who's got class, you can wear short shorts to a gym and be classy. Because if you're a girl who's actually and you're focused, and I've seen them girls, and Mel's one of those girls, when you're focused in the gym and you're not looking for attention, you are just focused on what you're doing. I don't have a problem with that. This is brought to you by Eric Bischoff and Gatorade. Yes. Now, the biggest thing is for social media is that we have lost the right to speak freely about how we feel about situations. We've now during social media has made people lose their friendship, people have lost their marriages, people have lost their family members. Families are feuding over social media bullshit. Social media bullshit. Social media has also created trolls. And trolls are the ones that have no life and they're sitting there. Now, it's one thing to funly, to be a fun troll and you're poking the stick and stuff. Then that's one thing. Let's see. It's like people that tell others to get a life and yet you're constantly on YouTube making an hour piece. Yeah. I'm getting to that, Rim. Hey, do you want to end, Rim, by any chance? Because I'm don't mind if you want to come in here. If you do, I'll send you the link. But but see, my biggest thing is that the people who sit on here for 4 or 5 hours making videos, talking shit about each other, knowing that you are never going to meet that person in a day in your life, it's very hypocritical because you got some people on here who talk a lot of game online, and then when you meet them face to face, they're like, "Well, I didn't say that. Well, I didn't say that, motherfucker. You did. You did say it. Be a man. Be a woman. Whatever the case may be. Admit when you admit that." And the fact is, social media makes people hide from their emotions. People who are people like Mel said it today. We were out there earlier, and Mel said to me that all those pictures, like you go on someone's Instagram and you see the happy couple and they're taking pictures, they're showing you what they ate that day, and they're probably showing you what they're shitting out the next day. And they're showing you all these pictures and they look happy. You're like, wow, that's a happy couple. But are they really a happy couple? Is that a really happy person? Because the person who's trying to get the most attention on social media is the one who is truly not happy with themselves and their life. And they're crying out for help. But they're going about it all wrong. They're going about it all wrong. Just give me a second here, guys. I mean, the biggest thing is my biggest pet peeve about social media, the freedom of speech. Yes. Freedom of speech. Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's the best joke I've heard all day. Their sites aren't even, these sites aren't really organic. It's people who are trying to sell the placebo. Yeah. Yeah. The land of almost free. There is a thing in the Constitution called the freedom of speech, the First Amendment, right? So, say for example, Juggalo Gamer, Rem right here, who's like, say for example, he disagrees on something like, let's say gym related. You disagree on a form that someone's doing a bench press with. And then someone else is over there like, well, I think his form is really good. And then it's almost like it's a fight about the people who disagree with you, it's like social media. People feel like they have to have their opinions heard. They have to have their opinions heard because they probably in the real world they probably never had their opinion heard. So they use social media as a platform to make their voices heard. But damn you, if you have a different opinion than anybody else on here. Damn you for having an opinion that doesn't rely on what they believe to. Whatever happened with, hey, that's your opinion. I'm cool with that. This is my opinion. Let's just agree to disagree. Whatever happened to something like that? And it's gone. It's no longer in this society anymore. And that's the biggest thing. Right there. Yep. Juggalo. Mm-hmm. See, the freedom of press, not the media. Freedom of the press is printing press and not corporate media. And my biggest thing with that is too is the people, like I said, who were doing all these TikTok videos and the people who are over there posting all these Instagram photos and all these Facebook photos, are they truly happy? Do you really like? I'd like to ask yourself, when you look yourself in the mirror, are you truly happy with what you see? Are you happy with yourself? There's some things about myself that I'm not happy about, and that's okay. That's life. That's the real world. That's life, and it's okay to have a different opinion than someone else. Just because all these media gurus and all these social media sites want you to think a certain way, it's your right as an American citizen, it's your right as a human being to have the opinion that you want without anyone telling you that you can't. That's how I roll. That's how I've always been ever since I was a kid to a teenager to a 40-year-old man now. And I'm not going to change my way. I'm not going to change my opinion on that. So social media can try. People can try to change my opinion on it, but you're not. And the biggest thing is too is that people use social media to get views. What I mean by cheap ass views is you got someone like Sean's View Entertainment who will when someone dies here on IWC Internet Wrestling Community or YWC, when someone passes away, this mofo, he will use that death as a platform to get views and to gain sympathy. And that is something that really fucking ticks me off. When someone uses social media and when someone uses someone else's death or someone else's thing and they use it as a platform to make their channel bigger, their sub count bigger, the fact of the matter is this day and age, people would rather, instead of helping you, you got people in this world who'd rather step on you and step on your heart, step on your chest, step on your throat, walk over you. But then again, here's the thing. When you do the same thing to somebody else, you're an asshole for it. How is that justifiable? Remnant said, oh yeah, if you disagree with somebody about a movie or TV show, hell, I even had a hobby or food, people get so offended on the internet. You're not allowed to have a different opinion. Especially if you go on Facebook and leave a different opinion on your phone, will start blowing up with notifications where people constantly talk shit for no reason just because you can't agree. Well, like I said, the biggest... Now, here's the thing. If you're a sports fan, if you're an NFL football fan like I am, like the Prodigal Hill is, like Travis is, like Steven Rose is, or most of the TTC guys, it's okay at that point because now we know we can trash talk each other about our teams. If our teams are playing each other, we can do that. We can have fun with it and not be offended by what is said. Sports seems to be the only thing that you can have a different opinion about. I don't know why. But sports seems to be the only thing that you can have a different opinion about, in my eyes and in my opinion. But like Rem said, oh my God forbid if it's a movie. Like, say, for example, if you like Halloween Kills that came out, like the last Halloween movie that came out, if I did a top 10 of all my favorite Halloween films, and I put that at top two, people would be like, "Oh my God, how dare you put Halloween Kills 2? Oh my God, I mean, that is such a crappy ass movie," and you would get all this hate, and for what? Because you have a different opinion. The Batman, yeah. Poston says, "I don't think views are organic on this platform anymore. I think it's more botting, and shields are responsible for most of the traffic." The Batman. Anybody in that constantly keeps talking pictures and putting, "You're not happy the way you look," and it's sad too. Right? Exactly. Thank you, Poston. I didn't mind the Batman movie. Poston thought it sucked, but I'm not gonna. But I'm not gonna sit there and tell Poston that his opinion doesn't matter. His opinion of the movie, that's his opinion, and I respect that. That's how it should be. That's how this works. That's easy. Well, I know Facebook is full of full of fanboys who get upset. Yeah, they definitely do. I remember a month ago I was watching Batman. I go, "Oh my God, that's shit." Right. So then that's the thing. You have people on social media. Like, for example, they will go onto a web page like The Walking Dead. Like, say, for example, I know me and Rem watch The Walking Dead. You got those people on there who don't have anything else better to do with themselves. And they use the freedom of speech or the freedom of press. They use the First Amendment as a way to go over there. It's like, they use it, and then they'll go over there and they'll justify it. And you'll have that one asshole who will come out there and say, "Well, I think the show sucks." And I'm like, "Well, then what the fuck are you doing on a web page? What the fuck are you doing on a fan page if you don't like something?" I've never understood that. Like, me and Mel, we watched the Ghost Adventure show, and there's some guys on there who will basically say, "Well, it's fake. I don't fucking like it. It's fake." I'm sitting there thinking, well, if that's the case, then why are you on their fan page saying that? Because there's other people who are on that fan page who do enjoy it, who don't need to hear that shit. Yeah, man. I didn't know Scott keeps sending you that Batman stuff. That's pretty fucking hilarious, actually. But to each their own on that, and it's not like I'm gonna be like, "Oh my God, they don't like the Batman. What the hell?" Some people do, some people don't. But it's a good thing that you brought that up, though, Poston. I'm actually glad you did. People are saying that the girl in the new Batman movie was one of the best Catwoman's. Oh yeah, no, 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 no. I saw that too, Rem. I saw that they were saying that Lenny Kravitz's daughter Zoe was the best Catwoman ever, and I'm like, yeah, no, absolutely not. And I've seen people who say Rob Pattinson's the best Batman ever. No, no. But that's because, and that's the thing too. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Rem. That's another thing. Another thing that I noticed. If you are a comic book fan, which I am, I read comics, I collected the comics and the action figures and all that other stuff. The fanboys for these movies are fucking terrible. They're terrible. Though, like, I remember when Wonder Woman was announced, and they were going to put her in that Batman Superman Dawn of Justice. And I remember With the Wonder Woman today, they casted Gal Gadot. And everybody kept saying, "Oh, she's too skinny. Oh, she's skinny. What the fuck? Why do I have this skinny beanpole be her?" And then when the first movie came out, those are the same motherfuckers that were like, "Oh, well, I liked her." I'm like, "Oh, so you're being a hypocrite now? Can't change your opinion. I mean, it is your freedom of speech and your right to change an opinion, yes, but fanboys are like AEW fanboys. Oh my god, yes, here we go. Glad you mentioned that, Paulson. I'm glad. The AEW fanboys. Now, on my show the other day, I had Nate the effing Great on here. We were doing a wrestling panel. And Nate the effing Great, he's a guy who just likes pro wrestling, period. He likes NWA. He likes New Japan. He likes what Impact Wrestling does. He's a former TNA fan. He likes some things with WWE and he likes some things with AEW. But he is told that he can't like WWE and AEW at the same time. And I'm like, when does these motherfuckers on TikTok? TikTok is worse. Tinny Talk is worse. Oh my god, the wrestling fans on TikTok are fucking ferociously stupid. What's up, Leon? You can't even have an opinion. Like they had an opinion the other day on there on TikTok about who is the GOAT, who's the greatest of all time in wrestling. Well, if we're talking about eras, then yeah, like different eras, then yeah, we have different genres. And but if you say one person, they're like, "Oh no, you fucking stupid, man! It's Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's stupid." I'm like, well, that's your opinion. If you like Stone Cold Steve Austin, then that's fine. Yeah, they ran off Shanti from WWE off of Twitter because they had one botch. Have they seen AEW? Yeah, that's the thing. I saw that botch that happened with her on Money in the Bank. Botches happen. Mistakes in the ring happen. It is. I don't care who you are. You can be. You can be Ric Flair. You can be Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, The Rock. Mistakes are going to happen in the ring. That's just the art of it because people are human beings. We make mistakes. It happens. Get over it. But yeah, I agree. When you look at AEW and you see all that damn botch fest bullshit, all the high kicks and flips that they do, but yet they're praised for it. Oh my god, that is like, oh my god, did you see the Young Punks' super kick? It's like the best super kick in the world, motherfucker. Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels invented the super kick first. I don't want to hear it. Scorpion Dev Drop Leon says TikTok was clearly built for pussies, whipped millennials, plain and simple. That's why you have a lot of these limp dick badasses on there. Like that one idiot you responded to. Yeah. That one idiot that I responded to. His full video. His argument is that men are not competitive anymore. We're still competitive. But some of us are competitive in a different nature than other men. It's how we're built. Sometimes it's in our DNA. Sometimes it's how we're raised. It's different strokes for different folks. But the guy in that video clearly was trying to say, in the full video, I wish I would have played this full video now, but the full video, he was pretty much saying that if you wear Obi-Wan Kenobi and you like Star Wars, if you go to the gym and you're wearing Batman and Superman and all this stuff, that you're not a real man. And I'm sitting there thinking, motherfucker, I've been going to the gym for a long time. I wear my wrestling shirts there. I will wear my Titan gear there. I will wear my fucking Batman stuff. I will wear my Wolverine, whatever the case I have on. I don't care. Because the clothes that you wear doesn't make you who you are at the gym. It's the work that you put in that makes you who you are. What's supposed to say here? Unless you're an AEW Unless you're in AEW, the botches constantly happen. AEW should get Faces of Death narrated their commentary. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, like in football, we're talking about sports here. There's that whole thing about LeBron. LeBron does. I like to call him LeBron to James and Michael Jordan. You got some of these young people out there who are sitting there doing videos now, amazed by watching Michael Jordan videos. I'm like, did you really honestly think LeBron was better than Michael? Do you really think that? Oh, because LeBron's been the more, and their argument is always, well, LeBron's been to more NBA finals than Michael has. But that's because LeBron's also been on teams that are super teams. And then somebody who's a LeBron fan will fire back and say, well, Michael had Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, and then he had him and Dennis Rodman. At that time, Dennis Rodman wasn't an all-star. Yeah, he was popular, but he wasn't an all-star. Here's the thing too. And here's the thing too with that. When I hear people try to compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan, I'm like, Michael Jordan has never lost an NBA Finals. He's won 6 championships. He's never lost an NBA Finals. Yeah, you can say LeBron's been to more. LeBron's played more seasons than Michael, more all that stuff. You can say that. But do you really honestly think in your heart? And they, what's funny is when you show them Michael Jordan clips, they're like, "Oh my God, I didn't know how good he was." I'm like, stop being an idiot. They're supposed to say here, how about a sports jersey? How about wearing cowboy hats and boots because of John Wayne or Clint Eastwood? Yeah, he's not even on Kobe or Duncan's level. You're damn right about that. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, Prodigal Hill. It's always like back in the day. Back in the day when I was growing up and I used to watch westerns with my dad, there was always this whole thing of John Wayne or Clint Eastwood. And I remember I asked my dad one time. Robert Horry is 7-0. When I asked my dad, I was like, "Hey, do you like LeBron? Do you like Clint Eastwood better or John Wayne?" And my dad's response was perfect, and it's still, and I believe, even though he's really bad in health right now, his response clearly was this: "I like them both. I can't choose." There you go. And and then that's the biggest thing. Social media gives these people, these arrogant fucks, all this power that they can do whatever the hell they want to do. And then they spend this whole time trying to dox people. And then that whole like, well, I'm gonna find out where he lives. I'm gonna get this guy fired from his job. For what? Because you don't like him? Because he has a different opinion than you? Grow the fuck up. Take your hand and slap yourself in the face for being stupid. But I do feel like the people on social media social media has made people commit suicide more, and that's a really sore topic because I'm a mental health survivor. I fight it every day, and there was one time I took a break on here because I couldn't take it anymore. Sometimes you have to rewind. Sometimes you have to reset that button, take a step back, and reset and reassess the situation that you're in. Social media has become a socialist media, and it's the people that are the least to offer that is given the biggest platform. I know I'm gonna really stir the pot what I'm about to say here, and I know YouTube is probably watching, and I don't care. There was this guy here in the state of Tennessee, or that one mass shooting that happened. The guy was on social media bragging about what he was going to do on Facebook. He was going to brag. He was bragging about what he was about to do. Why was that guy not? Why was his profile not taken down? Why did the Facebook did not call the authorities and get this guy arrested for clearly what he was about to do was something bad? But no, they will censor someone like Polson. They will put me in. They'll put me in Facebook jail just for calling someone an ugly ass mofo. They've done it to Leon. They've done it to a couple other people, and it's like one of those things where I'm like, you will put people in jail for that. You put people in Facebook jail for saying like a fun comment. And this thing that I got in Facebook jail for was over a friend's comment about. He mentioned he was calling me and this other guy gay, and it was in a playful banner way, and I called him an ugly ass mofo. But Facebook didn't think that was nice. It violated their community standards. But yet, a guy could come on here for weeks bragging that he's about to go do something with an assault rifle, and he's about to go do stuff, and yet that man never got in trouble. He didn't get his Facebook taken down or nothing. Zuckerberg said out of his own mouth to Congress, quote, Silicon Valley is a left-leaning place, no BS. He said that to the Congress flat out. That guy still looks like a Muppet. I swear to God. And now, I know that Elon Musk has bought Twitter. And I hope Twitter does become better. And there are other social media sites out there for people who have difference of opinion. You can use them like Rumble and all that. I mean, there's other things that you can use that are. But me and Mel both have on our profile, we have 2 strikes on Facebook. If we get one more, it's out. It's gone. And what's weird is the strike that they gave me, they went on to her actual other profile and gave her a strike too. So yeah, that's the thing that you're dealing with right now with social media. And that's the thing that I'm kind of like, where are we going with this? Well, I'll tell you what, though, a lot of places are moving to Tennessee. I know that I know Candace Owens has talked about. I don't know if she's moved here or not, but I know she's talked about it. I know the Daily Wire has moved here with Ben Shapiro. So there's a lot of places that are seem to be coming here. Too many people are moving here to Tennessee. By the way, good God Almighty! Like the traffic here in Nashville was bad, but it's gotten worse. I'm talking about there's like a cesspool of people moving here. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? It's like a cesspool of Jacqueline Glenn moved to Tennessee. Oh boy. Leon said, yeah, they did that with me too. If you have a similar picture to the one that was suspended, they'll take that they will strike that one too. It's best you take whatever photo you have on the other photo off to avoid it. What's funny though about that photo is the one that Mel has on her actual profile is a picture of her in her wedding dress with both her dads. And the one with me and her is a wedding photo, but yeah, it's a different one. So yeah, I get the gist of having to change that possibly. Californians are talking shit about Tennessee because they hate Marsha Blackburn. Well, you know what? I saw that on Twitter, and I've been seeing that, and I know that you mentioned that to me, and maybe I might jump in on that on Twitter with you because how could you hate someone that you don't even know? They don't even live in your state. Why would you hate them? Why? Because that's another thing too. Social media with politics is one of the worst things in the world because politics on social media makes a lot of things worse. I've seen couples break up, I've seen marriages break up, I have seen people off themselves, I have seen families disown members just because a family member likes a certain candidate and that person likes a certain candidate, and it goes into this whole fiasco. And I'm like, whatever happened to, hey, just go to the polls, click on who you want to vote for, and shut the fuck up about it. Facebook suspensions work differently than Twitter. I've been suspended for everything in the book, yet I'm still on the platform. With the Twitter, it's 3 strikes and you're gone. And that's, yeah, see, that's something that I can't possibly do or want to take a part of. And that's just the thing with and that's the thing with social media too. And that's another thing too. There's a lot of bullying on social media. There's a lot of people that are committing suicide because mentally they're not really good on the head and they can't handle these comments. They can't handle trolls. They can't handle certain things. So what they'll do is instead of taking a break from social media, instead of taking a break from stuff is which is what I did, and it was one of the best decisions I did. Gave me time to think. It gave me time to clarify and clear my head and clear my thoughts on it. I mean, I was still on Facebook and I still talk to you guys on Messenger, but for the most part, I stayed away from YouTube for a while because it was one of those things where I had to recharge my battery. And there's nothing wrong with recharging your battery. If you need to do it, then do it. Suspended on Twitter twice, accounts terminated on YouTube and Facebook, terminated my account. That is why we don't live in a world of freedom of speech anymore. Because if you have a different opinion than anybody else, if you have a different opinion than anybody else, it's like it's non applicable. It's like you can't have a different opinion. I mean, there are some people on our friends list who are not, who don't agree with things that me and Mel agree with. And I'm fine with that. You stay in your lane, I stay in my lane. That's just how it's always been. I mean, I try to be respectful of people's opinion. I try to be respectful to people who don't have the same belief system as I do. I mean, because it's their opinion, it's their God given right for that opinion. But it's also my God given right to disagree with your opinion. Anti-social media, unless they did an update on their TOS, I'm not aware of it. Yeah, see, that's the thing. But social media does put a really big strain on the mental health community. Um, People who have schizophrenia, people who have depression, anxiety, people who have PTSD, which I do have a form of PTSD. Um, I have a form of ADHD. I also have anxiety, and I also have depression, and I have anger issues. It's been well documented. I mean, I don't hide from it. I used to hide from it. And that's the one thing that if you are a person with mental health and you're struggling on social media, the best advice I have for you is to own that shit. Own it. Because if you own it, you have control now. because you have control over the fact that you own it. You've taken the bull by the horns. You come out of the woodwork and you have said, "Look, I'm a social. I am a I'm a survivor. Ain't nobody gonna take me down but me." And that is the truth. No one can take you down but yourself. A lot of what you're saying are the same concerns Congress had when they grilled him a few times. Per usual, he says he sees nothing wrong. Mark Zuckerberg's a real piece of shit, straight up. You damn right he's a real piece of shit. And I don't know if you remember, Leon, when they came out with the what was that, the social network? And they came out with that biography movie about Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg was so offended because he's like, I'm not that much of an asshole. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are, boy. Jesse Eisenberg hit you right on the head. You can clearly disagree with that all you want, Mr. Zuckerberg, but that is the exact definition of a narcissistic asshole. And there's a lot of narcissistic people on social media. That's another thing. That's another form of mental health. Narcissistic, sociopathic people. Both can be a little similar, but different. Very soon I'm going to come up and I'm going to talk more about mental health, and I'm going to have Mel with me because I know she knows how to. She loves dissecting and digging in the brains and getting to the root of it. Let's see here. Minds, Gab, Rumble, BitChute. These are all sites that are more worth the time. He's also a cowardly little bitch. Dude even ducked me when I was in the same audio room as him. I remembered that. That was actually pretty funny. You see, that's another thing too. And to all these celebrities out there who are basically going like, "Well, I'm going to leave, and I'm going to leave this country if something happens." Why didn't you? Why didn't you? You're a hypocrite. If you say you're going to leave because someone won an election or someone won that you don't like, pack your fucking bags and leave. That's how I look at it. Like, look, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So, like, say for example, if I was a celebrity and I didn't like something, I said, "Hey, I was going to move to Japan." You will see you would see mine and Mel's ass on a plane to Japan, living in Japan. That's exactly how I would be on that. I wouldn't sit there and be like, "Hey, well, I'm just going to say this and then not do it." No, 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 no. I would be the one that would say, "Hey, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back." And that's exactly what I would do. Social media also ruins movie premieres. And this big one, this is a big one that happened. When the Avengers Endgame came out, me and Mel had we had the early bird tickets to see it like 2 days before it comes out, and we were going with a friend. And Mel is on social media, and she's over there reading an article that has nothing to do with movies, nothing to do with and nothing to do with the Avengers. It had nothing to do with movies. It was something about a thing here in Tennessee, I think. And we were talking, and then she basically doesn't tell me until after the movie. But she said, "Yeah, when I was reading that article, some douchebag came on there and said, 'Hey, Iron Man died.'" So it already ruined the fucking movie for her. And that's another thing. I hate people that spoil movies. Now, and that's something right there that if I see spoiler thing on YouTube and I see the said thing says spoiler, I will not watch that shit until I see the movie. But also, too, that's another thing. People, there's too many trends. People follow what other people do. You know, people will follow stuff like they'll go in there and they'll say, What was that? What was that, Lena? Oh man. For a lot of people fear him due to retaliation. I'm not. Been calling him out since day one, and I don't do it as often due to the real life shit. But I won't stop calling him out, plain and simple. Yeah, see, you got people on there who will basically they use social media as a platform to because they think that social media is going to control the world, control everything. But yet, in a blink of an eye, if the internet went away tomorrow, what would you people do? What would some of you do? I know some of these guys, these gentlemen in the comments, they'd be okay. It wouldn't bother them. But for the rest of you who desperately need social media to hold on to your precious, you have to hold on to your fame and your status. You would be bitching up a storm. You'd be complaining. Yeah, see, I was in one of those movies and I did not spoil it. I just sent the link when we were done with it. But yeah, I mean, I don't like when people spoil stuff like that because it's like, why would you go about doing that and spoil it for just for the sheer meanness of it? And that's all it is just because they can. I remember one time I used to tell Mel, I was like, why the fuck? I told Mel, I was like, why the hell did they do this? And she just told me simply, because they can. Because social media gives them that platform to do whatever the hell there is to do. But social media does not give other people who have different ideology and different opinions, they don't give them that same exact respect and that same exact treatment. That's called hypocrisy. And it's a big problem here in the good old US of A. Very much a lot of hypocritical people. And I'm 40 right now. And I remember my father-in-law, Mel's dad. I remember him saying one time, and he is 70, right? Yeah, he's 70 years old now, about to be 71. And he looked at me and Mel one time and he says, I am very scared for y'all's future when y'all get older about my age. Because the world's going to be totally different if we allow it to be that way. You see, my thing is, I don't see me. I'm not one of those people that cares. I mean, like if you're happy with, like, say for example, if you're gay and you're happy being gay, you know what? That's perfectly fine. You're happy, great, and has no problem with it whatsoever. But don't force your stuff on me. I respect it, but don't force it on me. And that's some people don't understand. You don't want to force something on somebody. Because when you force it on somebody, people are going to rebel. And that's exactly what's going on with this whole woke community thing right now. Everybody's you go on the PlayStation. You see, sometimes I play video games to get away from the bullshit. And then you go on PlayStation 4 or 5 and they have all this stuff on there and you're like, all right, I guess I can't get away from this now. But I'm not going to be one of these sheeps who are just going to go along to just get along. I mean, that's just not one of those things that I am. I've never been that way, and I don't plan to be that way. I'm not going to sit there and bow like it's like in that movie. It's like in the first Avengers when Loki tells everybody kneel. Fuck you! I ain't kneeling. I wouldn't kneel for that. And that's the thing that most people on here need to do. But yeah, if you're a person with mental health issues, though, and this is all in all seriousness, know your limits. Know your limits on social media. If you know your limits on social media, you'll be fine. Take maybe an hour or two out of your day, and then after that, get off of it. Go do stuff more productive. And sometimes social media can be very addicting, and it's happened to me. I will come out and I'll admit it. Social media can be a very addicting thing because you're like, oh, look at this, I got this message, or oh, look at this on here, and then it's a very addicting thing. But also, social media can be a dangerous place, but it can also be fun if you know how to use social media correctly. And that's the problem with these people on here. They don't know how to use social media correctly. They don't know. They don't know how to use social media correctly. And that is one of the biggest that's one of the biggest screw ups that we have right now. Like if their favorite celebrity came out and said, boycott Facebook, they're going to be sheep and they're going to go here and they're going to boycott it because their celebrity guru told them to do so. And that's the thing. Why make yourself be a sheep? Why would you want to listen to what someone tells you to do? You can give me, and this is something that Mel can tell you this for the longest time being with me. You can tell me an idea, you can tell me something, but you ain't gonna tell me what to do. And that's the one thing is too. I will. And that's you can give me the advice, you can tell me, but I definitely don't. I don't definitely walk like a sheep. They put sociopaths in charge of monitoring social media. That I believe. I believe that wholeheartedly. Now, sociopaths are people who have no remorse. They have no sympathy for anything. If they can hurt you, the better. It makes them feel good when they can hurt somebody. Or when something happens in the media or something happens in the real world, they have no sympathy. One of the biggest, one of the biggest, so probably one of the biggest sociopath, narcissistic people out there is a guy who's sitting in the White House right now. Whether you like him or not, he's one of the biggest narcissistic d bags among. Yeah, I got to read that project thing y'all talking about, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm a pretty, I'm a pretty likable guy, and if someone, always learn, I always like to learn something new. It's something cool when someone tells you something that you never know before. You're like, wow, okay, cool, learn something new. But if you are a person too with mental health, what you need to do is here's a couple of rules of thumb to listen to, words to live by. If you're going to navigate yourself through social media, make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. That's number one. Number two, limit your time and your energy on social media. I know it can be addicting, but lower your expectations. The more your expectations are lower, the more that you won't get burned, and the more you won't get your hopes up. Number three, If you see something that triggers your emotion, realize that it's just online and people are going to be dickheads on here. People are not going to care. And they're like that in the real world. There are people out there who still do give a damn. And there's still people out there who are good people who will actually help you. We're still out there, ladies and gentlemen. We're hard to come by, but we're still out there. When I first came on the social media, when I first came into YouTube, my first time and my time being back now, Prodigal Heatlh on here posting was one of the very first people to help me out. He didn't have to, but he did. And that's one of the things that I try to do with other people on here too. When I see that people are, like for example, some of the wrestling people that I'm friends with on here are starting their wrestling promotion on YouTube now. They're called Midwest Cyber Wrestling. And the time that I used to wrestle and the time that I used to do websites like that, me and Mel used to do that. We try to give them our expertise. We're trying to help them out because that's what you do, is try to help people out. People forget about that. People forgot. Some people on here, when they get on social media, they forget who they are and they forget where they came from. And they go with the flow to get along. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to go with the flow to get along with someone. Having a different opinion is okay. But if I have a different opinion than you, then don't sit there and tell me that my opinion doesn't matter, because your opinion also is no better than my opinion. Everyone's got an asshole. Opinions vary. Like in the movie Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze said it best. When Terry Funk looked at him and said, "You don't look like much to me," and he goes, "Opinion varies." Same principle. Opinion varies. You got people on here who live their life on YouTube. They're trying to make money. They're trying to, hey, and if they can do that, more power to them. I will never tell anybody how to make their money. That's one thing is there's some big YouTubers out here who have used YouTube as a platform, and they get to see free movies. They get to screen video games before anybody else does. Sometimes there's a lot of them out there, and everybody's trying to do the exact same thing. But you want to know how you get over on the internet? You want to know how you get over as a channel? You become different than everybody else. Because some people appreciate originality. And that's lost in this world. As originality is lost. And it's lost on social media. Like on TikTok. If you started on video, like for example, there's a video out there. If someone started one of like them dancing to like a Shrek song, I'm just throwing this out there, and it goes viral, everybody else is making a copy of it. They might try to do stuff different with that copy, but they're following the narrative instead of being original. Originality always will always outbeat following. When I first started watching YouTube on here, there's some guys who I'm sub to, and there's some guys I'm still sub to this day. The reason why I'm sub to their certain channels because there's originality that some of them have that I appreciate. I like. You're not going to see me make a 3 or 4 hour video with a bunch of people on here and just shooting the shit. That's just not me. Because one, because I'm married and I don't have that time. And two, why in the world would I want to sit there for 3 or 4 hours on my ass doing that when I could be doing something else? And that's the biggest thing about social media. Social media can be a cool place to be, but it's also one of the most scariest things in the world because there's predators on there. There are people out there who are trying to steal your identity. There's people who are trying to dox you. There are people who are trying to make your life a living hell because they don't like the shell that they live in. They don't like the skin that they wear. So they try to take you down because they don't like you. Some people appreciate the hate. There's some people on here who love whether or not they get the attention of being good or bad, they just love it because they yearn for attention. Because when they get up every morning, they look themselves in the mirror. They don't look at it like the whole Saturday Night Live. Oh gosh, darn it, people like me. No, they're looking at it like, I wonder if someone's going to like me today. Maybe I should do this. Oh, I'm getting all these comments. You see me, woohoo! And that is the problem with social media, and that's the problem with the world today that we live in. Is this country has lost its identity. This world's lost its identity, and it's one of those things where I am. I'm actually going to say this out here right now, but I got one interview that's coming up very soon, and I know in the comment section this is going to rock some people. But I am actually friends with someone who is a Freemason. Yep, I'm not going to say the name until they come on here, but yes, I am friends with someone who is a member of the Freemasons. And I've kept that quiet for a while. But they told me I can go ahead and say it. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. And I'm looking forward to having him on my show because I'm looking forward to hearing his thoughts on things, how he feels, how he thinks about the world as a whole, what he thinks about social media. I've talked to him about it before. I've heard his take on it, but it would be interesting to actually hear. Hey, Grandpa is a high level Mason. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how high level he is exactly, but I know that he is a Freemason. One time he tried to recruit me for it. So I mean, I mean that is something that I know is treated in the highest regard. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show soon and letting him kind of run rump shot. I don't know how YouTube's going to feel about it, but you know that's the beauty of it. And hearing his opinions on the phone has opened up my eyes to a lot of different things. And I can't really comment on that until the video happens. But I will say that some of the things that he's told me has changed my opinion on certain things. And that's that's something and it's good because there's people out there that are trying to change your mind with things. And it's okay to change your mind on certain things if it's in reason. If it's like someone's telling you something and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. I need to change my opinion on that. Damn, okay. That's different. But when you go on there and you're like, hey, why are you hating on the Batman? Why are you hating on the Batman? That's not something to think about. And like I said earlier, what Poston was saying, he didn't like the movie. And there's some people that don't like the movie. I mean, it's okay. But that's the beauty of this country, though. Now, some people forget about that. That's the beauty. You can have a different opinion and be okay. It's not like you have to basically be like, "Oh, what what? So you accept the fact that you like that?" Look, I'm a person who's a gun act. I'm a gun enthusiastic. I support the Second Amendment. Doesn't mean that you got people on there to be like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna unsub to him right now because he's like that." I'm like, if you're that kind of person, then you don't need to be on my channel in the first place. You don't need to be in my life if you're gonna be that way. But I've heard people say that they don't like the Second Amendment, and I'm just like, okay, that's your opinion. I mean, I like to know why you don't, but your opinion's not going to change my view. And I feel like with Tinseltown, the Hollyweird, or Hollyweird as Mel likes to call him, I believe the reason why most of these actresses and actresses that are going with the flow is because they are afraid if they don't go with the flow, that they will be cast out. And look what happened to Tim Allen. He got casted out, and they did a new Lightyear with Chris Evans, who's a pretty big woke and a pretty big person who's not like Tim Allen. And that is wrong on so many levels. That is so wrong that people lose their jobs over having a different opinion. Having a different opinion, you lose your jobs over something like that. And you know what happened? People spoke. The movie backfired. The movie bombed. And rightfully so. People had more fun watching Top Gun Maverick because that's real stuff. I mean, there's no Goose or no real Maverick or nothing, but those fighter jets, those pilots are real. And that's the one thing that people appreciate. People appreciate stuff like that. You still do have people that appreciate stuff like that. But anyway, I will say though, social media has definitely changed over the time that I came on MySpace in 2005 till now. It has changed drastically, and it's not gotten better, and I don't think it will get better. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And that's the reason why there's also other social media accounts that in the comment section posting the product he'll posted that you can go to, and where you can be accepted and not have to worry about being judged or misconstrued or prosecuted or judged. And I'm sitting there thinking, look, only God, there's only one person that can judge you, and that's the big man upstairs himself. No one has the right to judge you for anything that you want to do in your life. If you want to be one of those people who are, and I don't judge anybody. I mean, we got friends on both sides of the plate. I don't judge them. I may not agree with their assessments on things, but they're still people. They're still friends. They're still family. You still love them. And if people learn to be that way more often, there would not be a lot of bullshit that goes on online in the first place. And that's a fact, Jack. But, anyways, for the mental health folks out there, please know that don't ever, if you ever feel like you are wanting to off yourself because of bullying online, talk to someone that you're close to, or call a suicide line. Make sure that you get the help that you need, because I feel like this day and age, the world doesn't care about social media. They don't do enough for mental health. They need to do a lot more for mental health than what they do, and that's a true 110% fact on that. They don't do enough. And every day is a struggle. Some days with me, some days I get up and I'm cool. Other days I get up and I just don't want to move. I don't want to get up that day. But you have to get up, and I've learned from my buddy Cirillo Santiago, who I did the interview with, that was a part of The Walking Dead. Go back and watch that interview I did with him, because he said it perfectly. You have to force yourself. You kind of have to push yourself to go out there and just breathe the air. And that's what you got to do. Social media is not for everybody. If the social media left tomorrow, like what I don't know if it was Travis or if it was Rem that said it earlier. If they did a day where they just got rid of social media for a day, Mel and I would be okay with it. Her more than me, because she doesn't get on social media as much as I do. But there's a lot of movies to watch. There's a lot of other things to do. And social media is not the be all end all control of everything. Because let me ask you, the people who make the money on social media, I got one question for you before I go. And it doesn't matter how you make the money on social media, but let's say, for example, you're a wrestler or a wannabe so-called wrestler, and you're over there, you're making all this money, you're bragging about it, and you got all these glorious fans who buy videos of yours, right? Well, let me ask you a question. What would you do if you wake up the next day, you and your husband, you or your significant other, whoever the case may be, wakes up and you don't wake up and they don't wake up? Where does that money go? Because once you're dead, that money's just sitting there. Unless you assign it to somebody else, that money's just sitting there. And you won't be able to make those money anymore. Social media, there could be a guy who can run for president years down the line who may try to get rid of social media. You don't know that. Someone may try to put more restrictions on the internet. That could happen. But you have to understand that. That happens. And you're going to have to go with that flow. But that is my take on social media and its effect on the world, its effect on the way I see social media in the eyes of a 40-year-old man. I don't believe it's going to get any better. I really don't. I think that it's going to be more of a cesspool, and I feel like there's going to be even more social media sites that are going to be coming out, and it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to navigate through this. Because we already got Twitter, we got Facebook, we got YouTube, you got Google, you got all these social media sites like TikTok and all this other stuff that's on there. And see, I use TikTok just to have fun. I do funny shit. That's what I do with it. I don't try to take myself seriously on there. And there's some people on there who take themselves way too seriously. And those are the ones who are not happy with themselves. The ones who take themselves way too seriously are the ones who are not happy with themselves. And hopefully one day they will be happy with themselves. And I hope they will be happy with themselves. I want people to be happy. I want everyone that's on here watching this video right now, I want you to be happy. Because I'd rather live in a world that's happy than a world that's miserable. And we're going to talk about that soon. Another video coming soon where I am going to talk about that. And I was reluctant to do this video at first because I didn't know what was going to happen with this video. I didn't know if how YouTube would take it. I didn't know how Facebook's going to take it and everything like that. But I kind of live in the world where you just don't want to live in fear anymore. You just don't give a fuck. And that's the point when I got in the 40s. When I got in my 40s now, I kind of feel like Clint Eastwood in that damn Gran Torino. I just don't give a fuck. Get off my lawn. That's pretty much how I am now. Mel can vouch for that. If I had that shotgun out there, oh my God. That's how it is for me. And the older I get, I'm pretty sure the worse that's going to get. And that's just life. Social media is a very big cesspool of bullshit. And the more that you let yourself get lost in social media, the more you're going to lose yourself as a person. That's another thing. Social media, if you get sucked into it too much, especially if you have mental health, you kind of forget who you are as a person. You start losing yourself. You start losing what brought you to the dance in the first place. Like, what brought you here? You kind of lose it. And that's another thing. And that's one thing that people don't understand. You don't want to let social media consume you. You don't want to let social media be this thing that's the be all end all of everything that you are. Because you're more than that. And that, to me, is being myself, being who I am as a person is more important to me than anything else. You can live with it, run from it. Like Fano said, you can live with it, run from it. But it's going to be there. It's how you control yourself on social media that will help you garner yourself throughout this whole thing. And that's honestly. We talked about a lot today. Social media does control a lot of stuff with sports. People do videos on here where they spoil TV shows. They will spoil movies. Social media has become social media whoever created social media, because I remember the first one was MySpace, but when social media gets created, cool idea, cool concept in the beginning, right? But it's the people that control those social media sites that are the problem. Not necessarily the people that are on social media. It's the people that control it. That's the problem. And until that's taken care of, you ain't got nothing. But anyways, we're on here an hour, 24 minutes, and I don't want to be rambling. So I thank the guys who have posted comments there, and the people who see this video later, please post your comments down below. Express your opinion. I'm an open book with that. If you disagree with something that I said, hey, you know what? That is totally okay. And I'm not going to ridicule you for it. I'm not going to reprimand you for having a different opinion. But I will say this. If you are a person with mental health issues, just be careful on social media. Be careful who you give your information to. Be careful who you give your phone number to. Everything. Because sometimes social media you have to live with the term that Stone Cold said, and that's DTA. Sometimes you have to. Unless you truly know that person, you like that person, and you know that person for a while, fine. But just remember, you have a right to be who you are as a person. You have a right to your opinion. And don't let nobody else tell you otherwise. This is Big Kev signing out. Please like, share, sub, and remember, you will always be a Kevin Maniac. Y'all, 93 of y'all who are sub to me now, I appreciate it. Much love, respect, and I'm out.